Sally that girl in the kitchen. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sally that girl in the kitchen. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to make Sephardic lemony spinach and rice. Espinaca con arroz. It is a very simple dish, easy to make, but the flavor is incredible. If you love spinach as much as I do, this dish is so delicious. It's got just this incredible tartness running through it, just a touch of rice, and the spinach is the star of the dish. It is delicious and has those very typical Sephardic-Turkish flavors that I love so much, and hopefully you will too. You can eat it warm or you can serve it cold, and you are going to love it. It's tart and it's yummy and it's something really different. So let's not wait another second and let's get started. For today's recipe, you will need 15 ounces of frozen spinach that has been thawed, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 1/3 cup of rice, 1 chicken flavored bouillon cube, 4 tablespoons of tomato sauce, a pinch of salt, a pinch of ground black pepper, the juice of 1 large lemon, and 1.5 cups of water. You will also need a wet measuring cup, some dry measuring cups, some measuring spoons, a serving spoon or something to stir with, a medium-sized pot with a lid, and a bowl or a cup for the juice of the lemon with, of course, a knife to be able to cut the lemon. So now that we have all of our ingredients and tools together, let's get started. So what I like to do is pull out my spinach the night before I'm going to use it, and I just place it in my sink and I let it thaw overnight, because for this recipe we are going to use the thawed spinach, but we are also going to use the liquid that it releases as it thaws. We are not going to drain it or squeeze it as I have done in some of my other recipes. For this recipe, we're going to use it exactly as is. It's going to be thawed, but it's going to be wet. So now my spinach has fully thawed, and I'm going to add it to a medium-sized pot right on top of my stove. And this particular brand of spinach, you can see that it comes like a little clumped up in little bunches. So I just take the side of my spoon and I break those bunches up, and then I use that same spoon and I just spread the spinach out to the outer edges of my pot. I'm just going to line the outer edges, and then I'm going to create an empty area in the center. So now right there in that center spot, that's where I'm going to add my ingredients. So I'm going to add my olive oil, and then I'm going to add my rice right there in the center on top of the oil. And then I'm going to open up my chicken flavored bouillon cube, and I'm going to break it up and I'm going to add it right on top of that rice. I'm just going to break it up in pieces because I find it's easier to dissolve when it's broken up into pieces. So I just use my hands and I kind of break it up and add it right on top of that rice. And then you measure out your tomato sauce and you're going to add that right on top. Now, we want to add just a very little pinch of salt because the bouillon cube already has salt in it. So I just kind of do that on the outer edges, and then I do the same with a little bit of ground black pepper. So now I cut my lemon down the center and I squeezed it into a bowl, and then I'm going to add that delicious fresh squeezed lemon juice all over this yummy spinach. And then I measure out my water and I'm going to add it right on top of that spinach on that outer edge, and that way that rice is still coated with those flavors and that bit of tomato sauce that we added right in the center. So this is what it will look like when it's ready to start cooking. So at this point, what I like to do is I put a lid on my pot, and then I'm going to turn my stove on. So this dish will cook for 25 minutes or so. So what I do is I set my stove to low to begin the cooking process. Now remember, it's got rice, so it needs some time for that rice to cook. So what I do at this point is I set a 25-minute timer to remind myself when my dish should be fully cooked. But after about 5 minutes or so, then I uncover my pot, and then I stir the rest of the ingredients in to that delicious spinach to combine all of those flavors and allow my delicious espinaca con arroz to continue cooking. I just stir all of the ingredients together so that I'm sure to distribute the rice amongst the spinach and get all those yummy flavors distributed throughout. And then I put the lid back on and I continue to cook the dish until the 25 minutes are up. So that is the only time you'll uncover the pot. And after 25 minutes, just turn off your stove, and then you can remove the pot from the hot burner and just set it aside and leave it covered for 5 more minutes to allow that delicious rice to fully cook through. And after those 5 minutes, you can uncover your delicious Sephardic style lemony spinach and rice. And it smells divine. You are going to notice that it still has some liquid, which is what we want. This is not a rice dish. This is a spinach dish with some rice. And the idea is for it to be somewhat wet. It's got that delicious lemon and that chicken flavor and that tomato sauce running throughout. Those flavors that are so typical of the Sephardic-Turkish dishes. They are so yummy together, and really with the combination of spinach and rice, this is such an incredibly delicious dish. It truly is one of my favorites, and it always reminds me of my mom because she always made it for me because she knew how much I loved it. And I remember her making it for me when I was pregnant because I couldn't eat anything because everything I would eat would make me sick. But things with lemon, things that were tart, were the only things I could tolerate. It was the only thing that would go down and stay down. And I absolutely love this dish. So every time I make it, I always think of my mom and how she would make it for me during my pregnancies. And it just brings me amazing memories. Not to mention, it's really delicious. It's one of my favorites. It's just yummy, and it's so different and so unexpected. People are always fascinated by it. And lucky for me and lucky for my mom, now I just made some and she's gonna get to have some of mine. This is one of those recipes that has been handed down in my family for generations, and I'm just so happy that I've learned how to make it and that I can make it for my mom and for my own kids, and God willing, one day for my grandkids. This is definitely something that we are going to want to hold on to for generations to come. So look at how yummy that looks. If you love spinach and love lemon, this is just so absolutely delicious. And that rice is just perfectly cooked throughout. And it's just so different and so unexpected. And it's just savory and tart at the same time. It really is yummy. And like I said, I'm going to try it now hot because I just made it and I'm not going to wait. But I also love it cold. I love to just put it in the refrigerator and serve some as like a little side dish to whatever I am eating. It's just yummy and delicious, hot or cold. So enough observing. It's time to take a bite. Amazing. I love it so much. It's one of my favorites. It's just got the right amount of rice and just that perfect tartness. I can't get enough. It is so tasty. It's different. It's delicious. It's savory. It's tart. It's really just perfect. It's a magical side dish. You are going to absolutely love it. And just like we've done in my family, you're going to want to hold on to this recipe for generations to come. So how incredibly yummy does this look? The lemon gives it this incredible tartness, and it is just such an incredible combination of flavors. And as I said earlier, you can eat it warm, you can eat it cold. I actually love it cold, right out of the refrigerator. A lot of the Sephardic-Turkish vegetable dishes I love served cold, but of course you can serve it warm as a side dish, and it is really, really yummy. Plus it's super different and very unexpected. This is a must-try recipe. You won't know that you love it until you've tried it. And of course, if you've enjoyed today's recipe, don't forget to like, comment, and share. And remember to subscribe to my channel and to touch that little notification bell so that you get notified whenever I make a new recipe. And of course, there are already tons of recipes up on my Sally That Girl in the Kitchen YouTube channel, so make sure to check them all out. And if you're not already following Sally That Girl in the Kitchen on social media, be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. And as Sally That Girl FL on Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. See you next time. Sally That Girl in the Kitchen.